Hi there, welcome to the Lead Relationally podcast. Let's go for a walk and join the guys as they talk about a better way to lead people.
All right, welcome to another walk with Chris and Brad. We got a beautiful day here on the path. And Chris, I think we should jump right into it. People are curious to know, what does it mean to lead relationally? How do we get started leading relationally? It sounds great, but how do we do it? I think in order to understand that, we gotta ask, how did we get to this point where this became a thing for us? Why are we here? What are we doing?
What is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of all of this? No, I think it's great to remember the journey that we had to get to this point. Like, what led us into these conversations? And I remember, for me, as being a member of a team, learning about leadership, we were students of leadership. We got to go to some great courses. We had many seminars and read a lot of books. And it wasn't until I got elevated from being a team member to a team leader, I now needed to apply it to my friends, to my team, to the people. And I remember getting frustrated with, it's not going the way I hoped it would, the way I thought it would, the way some of the authors and what you had recommended, some techniques and stuff, and I tried it and it didn't go how they said it would. And so I think in my soul, I was aware that there was a better way to do this, a better way to lead, or I was just doing it wrong. And so I think that led me to me trying to work this out by myself doesn't seem to be working for me. It wasn't working for me in the way I wish it would. And I think that's what got me onto this.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that, Chris. I think a lot of people probably had that experience. And my story would be similar to yours in that there was no shortage of great leadership information and advice and systems and models. And I love that stuff. I can I can get into that, but then I can fall into the trap of thinking, well, because I have all this knowledge, that must mean I'm a good leader. I knew in my heart of hearts that wasn't true. That, okay, I've geeked out on some leadership concepts, and if I walk away thinking like, well, now I'm a better leader, I've fooled myself. And I knew, I don't know how to implement this. I don't know how to show up as this person. I don't have the confidence to do that. So there was an insecurity there that on my own, I couldn't sort out. I had the sense that I wasn't living up to the full potential that I knew I had in me as a leader, and I had no one to help me sort that out.
That's fascinating, isn't it? So here we are, probably having a wealth of input and knowledge and courses and information. And then you're dealing with insecurity, and I'm dealing with frustration, which are deeply relational concepts. And I think that is a lot of people's experience. And that's not because the information we got was bad or wrong, or the book wasn't helpful. I think the demons that we were fighting seem to be in the application with other humans, because not all humans are the same. And that's where I was getting tripped up with, oh, you're receiving this differently than the way I'm trying to present it, and I don't know what to do about that. Or I'm becoming defensive or frustrated, and that's where I'm banging my head on a wall for some reason in the application zone.
Right, and I heard you say you were trying things and it wasn't working. And I think a lot of people, they'll get, excited about a leadership book or something and say, well, I tried it, it didn't work. And it's like, well, there's no silver bullet. There's no magical thing that's going to unlock all the hidden potential. Like, there's just good wisdom. But I think for most of that stuff, the breakdown is we just don't know how to take all that and actually apply it and live it out as we lead our people. And the truth is, we need help with that. The common thing in both of our stories was that we both said we needed outside help.
Yeah, like trying to work it out alone in a room with some books wasn't working for me. That was actually making me more frustrated. The more time I went away to dive deeper into it and try it again and again, I was still in my own head. And I think I was realizing that seemed to be the cage that I put myself in, was in that I should be able to do better by myself. And I don't know where I picked up on that particular thing that I now think is a lie. I don't know, alone, you can just make yourself better all the time.
We've talked about this before, Chris. I do believe it's true every time I think about it. And that is that you can't give what you don't have. That doesn't mean you have to have all the same lived experiences as the person that you're trying to lead. But unless you have been poured into, unless you have been led well, unless somebody has helped you show up as a leader, as a relational person, you can't just turn around and suddenly be this person to everybody else. And I think that's a thing that has to be happening consistently.
It's hard to start a conversation you've not been a part of. Do you know when you jump into something that's halfway through going and two people are talking and then you kind of jump into it? Like, it's a bit awkward at first, but you kind of catch up.
That's never happened to me.
It never happened to you? I don't believe that. Yeah, happens to me all the time. And you sort of like, well, what are you talking about? Or what's this? And they're talking about it and they're sharing, well, okay, well, how did they get around that and what did they do? And you're hearing it from different people's perspective. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, now I've got a way to kind of work that out for myself, that if I wasn't a part of this conversation, how would I get to that perspective or that idea in a room by myself? I think it's unlocked a lot that actually I needed to be a part of some conversations with people about this stuff, about the information or the courses or the things, the book that I've read. And that's where the real learning happened. I think we know that's true. I just don't think that we fully go there enough to just how helpful that is and just how much that can actually transform our leadership situations.
Well, I think most of us have had that experience. Like when you've had a great conversation with somebody, when somebody just encourages you, validates you, points out what they see in your life, in your leadership, you go away just feeling like the best version of yourself. And tell me if you've ever experienced this, Chris. Then in your next conversation with whoever you're talking to, you want to be that person to the person you're talking to. You might even say some of the same things that were said to you because you want to pass them on because they were so helpful to you. And so not only can you not give what you don't have, I think you do give what you do have.
Well, I think you're excited to. It's like I had this with my little girl, Annabelle. That sometimes there's something you taught them last week and then they teach it back to you. Because they're excited because they learned this thing.
Very annoying.
Yeah. But it's also true of lots of situations. Like once you get excited about something or you discovered something, you do want to share. I think you're right. I think you're excited to share what you have because we like to be useful, especially when you're a leader and you're trying to help your team or move it forward. Because you feel as though, I'm feeling fulfilled. I'm excited. Like I'm doing my purpose. This is amazing.
Honestly, I wish we could say, okay, being a relational leader, here are the 10 tips and tricks and hacks, and you just do these things and it all happens. But the truth is if we're going to be the lead person, we got to do the work on ourselves. It starts with us. We got to sort ourselves out. We can't give what we don't have. So we bring all of our stuff into the leadership that we give other people, good and bad. And we can't do this alone. So Chris, who helps us with this?
Well, like most people, you have different people in your life, coaches, other people that you go to and what have you. And we both got a guy in our life acts as a mentor and a coach for us and what have you. And his name's Dave. And so there's someone who's trusted. He's a little bit older and wiser than us. We wouldn't obviously say that to him. Well, the older bit anyway. And he is someone you can say, hey, here's something that's going on. Help me unpack this, help me see this from different points of view and different perspectives. When you can't give what you don't have, how do you get it? Well, we found that we've been getting it through conversations with this guy that we both know called Dave.
You know, there's times you walk with a good friend and you get a certain type of support from that, but there is a lot to be said for having that person that is maybe a little further ahead on the path. Not even that he's done the same work or things like that. So he's not necessarily a mentor on the job tasks that we've had, but he knows us. He knows enough about how we're wired and our work. So he kind of he knows our heart, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. And so when you have somebody that knows you that way and actually cares about you more than he cares about, well, are you doing your job? Because he's not a boss. We're not accountable to him in that way, but he just has a heart for you and me and has given us time. And he's walked, this very path with us and asks tough questions. And we've given him permission to do that.
Let's be honest, it's quite annoying questions. Sometimes the question you don't want to be asked, he will ask it.
Yeah. Dave, if you're listening, it's really annoying.
It's really annoying. But thank you for all the growth in our lives.
All the Daves out there are going to be wondering, are we talking about them?
And
yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Indeed.
It's you.
Very much you. No, exactly. I think that actually it helps. The trust level being high is what is, I think, most helpful with our relationship with Dave. But his skill level wasn't actually essential, especially when it came to the kind of work that we were in. It didn't matter if he was highly skilled in that or not. It's just the fact there was high trust level so that they could ask good questions that then I wouldn't get defensive and frustrated. I would actually be more open, and therefore I could see things that I couldn't, or I could maybe understand other people's perspective without getting worried about how it looks on me or how it reflects on me or all those kind of things. He made it very safe to be able to say, what if you were just wrong? And I'd be like, Dave, that's unbelievably annoying. It can't be possible. You're so annoying, Dave, right? But you just have to sometimes just own the fact that you could be very wrong. And what would that mean? Or how could that be true? And then all of a sudden you're open to new realities that you were very closed to 10 minutes ago.
And in the context of a relationship that is high trust and somebody that you know is for you in every situation, wants the best for you, you're not shamed by those challenging questions.
Irritated.
Yes. I know sometimes with Dave, I'll come out and say, I've got this problem, I'm dealing with this person, this situation, and I'm kind of looking for some advice. And, he's happy to give it, but really, he's always going to fly up another 20,000 feet. And you're going to say, yeah, but what about you? How's your heart in all of this? And it's like, I just want a solution to my problem. I want the tips and tricks and hacks. And Dave, bless him, he just cares about the bigger things. That is why we need people like this pouring into us.
It's worse for me, Brad, than that. At times I'm like, this person is the problem, and here is what they need to do, and this is why they're wrong. And then Dave asks annoying questions like, well, what if it's not about right and wrong? What is it that they're going through that's led them to behave or act or be like that? And I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about how wrong they are and how they're not doing the thing they should be doing. And now all of a sudden he's brought in reality and people's feelings and hopes and dreams. But by understanding that, I don't have to take all that on. But by taking a little bit of ownership over some of those things, it actually unlocks the whole thing. And then my frustration goes away. You're able to actually meet someone where they're at and be able to move things forward. And then the logjam that had been created is now set free. And they didn't have to do a darn thing. I just had to have a bit of a step back, a bit of a breath, and ask a better question and approach it clearly and calmly. But that needed to happen in a space where Dave could ask those questions to get you to that place. Whereas if I try to do that by myself, that'd be hard.
Well, I think that's the key. It's giving it the space. And Dave's a guy who he has given us a lot of time. I don't know why, he's a busy guy, but he cares. And it takes that time because sometimes we do have to talk that initial stuff out to just offload it before we can actually become a better version of ourselves as people and as leaders. You got to work that through. If we're not working that through with somebody, it's coming out somewhere, and we're probably going to dump on somebody, either on our team or in our organization. You're going to take it out on your family, your kids, and then you got a lot of apologizing to do because our frustrations, our insecurities, our wounds are now hurting other people. And so having a Dave is essential, and it's got to be somebody that is going to give you that time.
And you've got to make a choice where you're going to spend that time. Because if it's like, oh, I haven't got time for that. Well, I think it saves you a lot of time, because I also don't think you've got the time for the apology tour you're going to have to go on if you keep going the way you're going.
Or the people replacement tour to find all the people that have left your team.
So sometimes it's like, but it's going to take so much more time. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's taking more time or it's just you're using your time more wisely. And I'd hang my hat on that, because I know it's been true in my life. I know it's been true in yours. And so my bet is that the time spent here doing this will come back to you big time.
So, okay, Dave, he sounds like an angel from on high. He most certainly is not.
No.
But these people, they're rare. So how does somebody go about finding a Dave as we head down the home stretch here?
I like the fact that his name's Dave, not like Gandalf. I don't want him to come across as like this mythical wizard that lives in a faraway, distant land that can never be found. It's like, I think that Dave, for me, has been many people across my life.
There's lots of Daves out there.
Tons of Daves.
Very generic.
Yeah. But I love that idea that if I was going to start, or I think how this started for me, was there was someone I trusted with me, that someone that was a friend, And that was the most important starting point is, can I just talk to you about some of this stuff? And so that I can get it out of me into a conversation with another human that can give me a perspective. And they weren't in work. They weren't a member of the team. They weren't this. They were kind of outside of it. So they probably didn't understand the context that much. So I suppose you could say how helpful they can be. And it's like, well, the bit they're helping me with was me. That was the key.
Right. They don't get caught up in the day-to-day frustrations of the organization. And that's what you need. It's easy to find a coworker to complain about all the stuff with. That's easy. And you can actually get stuck doing that sort of thing. That's ultimately that it can be fun. It can be therapeutic in the moment to have somebody to complain to. We actually need people that can lead us out of those spaces. And if it's a person that's caught up in it with you, that's difficult to do.
Yeah, like a fundamental role of Dave is to call you up, not call you out. I don't want to get embarrassed or shamed by just someone said, well, you should just do better. It's like, oh, it's terrifying. No, calling you up to a better way of being you, the better version of you. We all want that person. You spend time with that person because that is life-giving, right? And so I think that finding your Dave is someone that has got a positive voice and that actually knows you, that can call you up. If you can find that, and which I think you probably could in most good friends that care about you, I don't know if it's going to be as hard as maybe it first seems.
Well, I like that you said you probably just have to start with a friend because you don't know, well, how far could this relationship go? You probably have relationships that people would be willing to give you more time. They would be willing to talk about some of this stuff if you invited them to, if you gave them permission. If you said, I give you permission to challenge me, ask me those annoying questions. I'll be annoyed by them, but I want it. I want somebody pushing me and pulling me and calling me up, as you say. You know, it might be a friendship that sort of grows into more of a mentorship coaching relationship. And you don't need to know whether they're going to be Dave-like from the beginning. You kind of put it out there with a few people and you sort of see what emerges.
And Dave evolves over time.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, no. But yes, like I think at different seasons, there's been different Daves around depending on the relationships you had and people that were there and their willingness to step into this. Like you said, so it might start with a trusted friend and then you may find that there's other people that come into your life. You start to be able to start seeing them because you know what the conversation sounds like, and all of a sudden when you're in it with someone, you're like, oh, right. Dave has arrived.
So what you're saying is we should be collecting Daves in our lives.
I think absolutely.
Is Dave a man or a woman?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter at all.
He's like a doctor. It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They're above it all. And I think that interestingly, now we're a bit older and further down the road, we've become Daves to other people. And so Dave has also evolved from a Dave to me. Now I'm Dave to someone else. And that has completed the conversation more fully because now I've got a youngling asking me questions that is now pushing me in different ways. And how do I call them up? Because I've been called up, so I know what that sounds like. And so because I know what it sounds like, I know how to repeat. Like you said, I've learned something, now I'm excited to give it.
So it's no surprise that you would start showing up for other people that you care about and you're trying to lead in the same way that you've been poured into. And so I guess the challenge here is, who's your Dave? Who do you think could be your Dave? And start putting it out there, because you cannot lead people relationally unless you have someone like this in your life. I believe that.
I think this is what makes it relational. Dave is what makes it relational. I think it's very hard to have this conversation if you don't have a trusted friend if you're not involved in it, how can you give it? And if you're not involved in it, like you said, how are you moving up the relational scale? I think that the concept of Dave is one of the most significant things that helps you move.
You mean Dave's not a leadership textbook that we can just read and...
No, I think it's a human. Because I think this is human interaction we need.
We'll start with that.
Start with that. See how we go. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we got our conversation for the week. Get out there. It's great listening to us, but you've got to be talking this out with people in your life. So have a great walk, and we'll see you next time.
Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, guys. Join us again soon for another conversation. But in the meantime, it's your turn. Get out there and walk alongside the people that you're leading. Visit us at leadrelationally.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more support.